Folks, if the United States is not a racist based, I'm not going to say 100%, but damn close. If they're not a racist country, then why is it that they place in positions of reverence traitors to the United States? This is the only country in the world that does this. Excuse me. We are the only country that has statues erected, army bases named after, schools named for people who were traitors to the United States. Here's a history lesson courtesy of News One Now.
3 years ago, when Dr. Maya Angelou was in here in D.C. at the National Portrait Gallery, about a month before she died, I had an interview with her, and we were talking about teaching. And she said, "Roland, you're a teacher." I said, "No, I'm not." Scared of a journalist. She said, "No, I watch you. You teach." The reality is we can use this medium for different purposes. We talk about information all of the time. And so with all of this talk about Confederate monuments and statues and what took place, and I had a big fight last night with Joe Pagliarulo, a Republican conservative radio talk show host who insisted the Democratic Party was and still is a racist party, but he kept ignoring the Republican Party and their racist history, such as the Lily White movement. And so I invited Joe on this show because it was a waste of time being on his radio show because he was just blabbering on and on. So Joe, when you want to have this debate, I'm here 5 days a week. Just pick a day and I'll be here to educate you. So we have this new segment. It's called The Truth About America. It will expose the lies and the half-truths being taught in our schools that still promote white supremacy and give you a different perspective, as we say, his story and not history. So last week we had a historian on talking about military bases named after Confederate generals. You know, the people who lost the Civil War? Yeah. So check this out, okay? According to the Southern Poverty Law Center, there are 10 Army bases in America named after Confederate generals. Yes, United States Army bases. You know, the folks who actually won the Civil War, they're named after the people who lost the Civil War. There's Fort Rucker, named after General Edmund Rucker in Dale County, Alabama. Fort Benning is near Columbus, Georgia. It is named after General Henry L. Benning. Now near Augusta, Georgia, is Fort Gordon, which honors Major General John Brown Gordon. Camp Beauregard gets its name from General P.G.T. Beauregard. Is located near Pineville, Louisiana. Also Louisiana is Fort Polk, named after General Leonidas Polk. That was all jacked up.
That's right, that's right.
Fort Bragg. And a lot of us know about Fort Bragg, one of our major Army bases. Where is it located? Near Fayetteville, North Carolina. Named after Confederate General Braxton Bragg. Probably the most well-known Army base in America. I know this well. It is in Killeen, Texas. It is called Fort Hood. It is named after Confederate General Bell Hood. Y'all, Fort Hood. Now near Bowling Green, Virginia, is Fort A.P. Hill, named after General A.P. Hill. In Virginia, there are 2 military bases. Fort Lee is named after General Robert E. Lee, who wasn't from Virginia. And Fort Pickett, named after General George Pickett. But for all the dedication of these generals, according to history, these generals sucked. For example, General Braxton Bragg is considered among the worst generals of the Civil War. He lost most of his battles, but many historians say Bragg placed a lot of blame on a subordinate, General Polk, who also has an army base named after him. So we got 2 generals who sucked, or we got bases named after them. General John Bell Hood made his mark in the Civil War, but as he moved up the ranks, historians say he became increasingly ineffective. He led his team through several defeats, most notably the Battle of Nashville. After that battle, he was replaced. Was even the point, so what's the point of naming these army bases after generals who sucked? I need y'all to understand what happened here. And that is, you had white racist Dixiecrats in the United States Congress. Yes, they were Southern Democrats. And what they did was, they said, we're going to name these bases after these generals. Republicans, who supposedly like black people, the party founded to oppose slavery, went along with this. This is stuff you weren't told. And I can guarantee you that there are troops who are white, who are black, who are Hispanic, who are Asian, who are Native American, who are Muslim, who are Christian, who don't even know the bases they're serving on, who they are named after. This was all done by design. Let's go to Michael Singleton, Tiffany Lofton, our panel.
All right, so that's your history lesson. And again, this is just about symbolism and the fact that it didn't matter that these guys were traitors. They were white, and that's all that was needed. And in case you guys didn't know, General Robert E. Lee was a graduate of West Point. One of his main buddies was Ulysses S. Grant. Ulysses S. Grant fought, obviously, against him in the Civil War. When the South lost, normally what would happen would be that the traitors would be put on trial, imprisoned, or put to death. That's what normally happens to war criminals, which is what Robert E. Lee was. But because his buddy, General Grant, petitioned the then president, I believe it was Johnson, that if they did anything to Robert E. Lee, that he would resign, and it would create a tremendous fallout amongst the Union armies and I guess other people, that President Grant basically caved in and said that they would not prosecute Robert E. Lee. Now, I don't know about you folks, but that smacks of white privilege to me. End of story.